I think it's recording.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
With the Qualtrics?
Now it's in Word.
World file? Okay. And then I have to share. Now, can you see my Qualtrics?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool. So this is yours. This is how you can download your data file. So go to data and analysis, I guess. And here you can find exports and imports.
Yeah.
So you export the data. And since you have
SPSS.
SPSS downloaded already, so you can click it.
Yeah.
Download. I'm now opening the SPSS. We need to go to server. Uh-oh. Can you please share the English version so that I can see the.
Yes. Yes, I added you. But we can combine the data together, right? Because it's only
Exactly the same.
yeah,
Can you
it's
see?
exactly the same.
Yeah, but I'll show you how to then.
Yes.
Then you go to data and analysis. And export SPSS, download. Okay, can you see this folder?
Yeah.
This is your Vietnamese version, and this is an English version. And now I don't use SPSS since my bachelor or master's degree, but so I might be slow, but this software is quite user friendly with the icons instead of comment based. So it might be easier for you to start the analysis with the software rather than, and yours is not like not really complicated that requires like more advanced software. So you can just use it. But I may take some time. Merge files, add pieces. Browse. downloaded it just now. So this was the English version that I just downloaded. So in this way, you may be able to combine them if it's exactly the same. Let's see. Yeah, this seems working. By the way, before analyzing the data,
Yep.
very important that you check whether it's completed or not. So, for example, some people may not have even completed their responses and they
Yes.
just left. Then you cannot include that case in your analysis. Since you have around 100, in the end you will have around 100. You can do it like manually. Otherwise, for example, this case 45, it doesn't have numbers, right? Missing values. So these should be deleted, and these as well. After deleting these, I don't think you will have even 90 or 80. So please put some efforts in collecting more data, asking your friends. Maybe you have already asked
Yeah.
all of your friends, but yeah, maybe friends, like, you have those friends who have many friends. So ask them to be a mutual contact for your study. So this is just basic set. And have you read any, or have you read any paper that has done the similar thing in quantitative way? Have you?
Um, I actually try to watch some YouTube video,
Mhm.
but I didn't really know like where to start it because it was quite confusing.
Okay. So I don't think you would have time to really study the statistical analysis from the beginning. So now we have to focus on what you have to do.
Yes.
So first, descriptive analysis. So there may be the key, well, there may be the key questions we have to focus on, but let's see. Survey. These are control variables, but are you making a note? So first you have to provide the descriptive analysis. So just an overview of your samples, like what is an average age, what percentage of male and female, and like the average education backgrounds they had, this kind of thing. For example, with this answers, you can say maybe 5% no schooling, 60% who have completed the high school, primary and high school, and 30% have done the bachelor degree and also postgraduate degree and things like that. So you describe the data. And in very first, you introduce the sample, like who have responded our survey. And also you may, I remember you have included the like this kind of stuff, like they have lived in Vietnam average how many years, and whether they have this international experience, you know. And if you decide to focus only on this resident, like Vietnamese residents that stayed, like Vietnamese, like then you should exclude the data who ticked the never been to Vietnam here, because
Yes.
that they are not the target of your survey.
Um, when I set up the logic of their survey, actually everyone who clicks never been to Vietnam will be sent to the end right away.
Great, great.
Yes.
That's so great. Yep. Then you can explain this one. So since you in your manuscript, like we target the Vietnamese who have lived in Vietnam, or you know, the kind of stuff. And then for those who participate in survey, but not the target, will or have been automatically terminated from the survey. Clear. Okay. So first you do the descriptive analysis and you describe the data, the how, or like what are the features of demographic features of your samples. Then let's see whether question 3 has been question 3, 4. Here it's a bit weird because we have question, as you can see here, it's coded like question 3, but we have question 3, 1, 2, 3. What happened? Do you know what happened here? And what these, oh,
Oh, I
yeah, like
think it's the like continent.
continent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. Question 3-1 is Asia. Three
Uh-huh.
two is Africa. I don't know why this happens, but
You see? Oh, what happened? No, I don't really get it. This is multiple choice. And you said multiple answers. Like along with, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Okay, I got
okay, yes.
it. Okay, okay, good. In this case, when you describe the data, since you have only like several cases who have lived in other continents than Asia, you can manually count. Of course, you can do that in analyze and things like that, but I can show you how analyze data descriptive frequencies. Um, Can you see? Um, do you think this is question 3?
Yeah.
Yes, it's question 3.
One. So if you do that and click, we have here you can see the numbers.
Mhm.
So we can quite quickly manipulate, like to see the percentage. Here you see the percentage as well, but you don't really know like the overlaps, like those who have multiple, who have lived in multiple continents, right? So maybe if you want to provide more refined values, you can count them like manually and
Okay,
provide
yeah.
uh, numbers. So, okay, let's get into the real analysis. So this is descriptive analysis. And then let's go to the what is your key dependent variable? Which question?
The independent variable.
Variable.
What does that mean? The independent variables.
Your model, I remember you have motivation, ability, opportunity.
So
So
the independent variable would be like motivation, opportunity, and ability.
yeah, and then dependent variable that is linked to what? Intention of purchasing green products. So what is the question you asked that variable?
Green purchase intention.
Yeah, so
Is it in the last sentence? Last questions.
okay. So these are
I think it's like question 16,
16.
And 17.
16 and 17.
Okay. Now this is your dependent variable. I it's good that you included both questions just in case, you know, people may respond differently. But in your when we analyze them, you can regard each question as potential dependent variable. Not both. You can always include just one dependent variable, and you can test them separately and see like what comes better, and you can present findings about either dependent variable. Does it make sense? So you can we can do whatever we want in our analysis, but we have to focus on one outcome, like whether it is their willingness to buy or where their willingness to switch. So we do the analysis for two different dependent variable and see what happens. By rule, it shouldn't be that way, but it's just behind the scenes, so we can just simply check, you know. Okay, question 16 is your dependent variable. I got it. And Then purchasing, consumption. Okay, how often do you buy? So this is their original.
Like a background of how they
Mhm.
consume.
Yeah, they're original before doing the survey, right?
Yeah, true, but it can be another dependent variable, their purchasing behavior rather than their willingness to purchase. I think this question 7 and question 16 is quite correlated because that like their current behavior, like purchasing behavior, will be highly correlated with their future intention. But I also see the benefit of doing this because you can also claim for claim that you I don't really I can't come up with the specific words, but when we just do the survey, we have this wash on in our heads after answering these questions, depending on the questions. Even if we don't do the things in a certain way after answering these questions, you change your mind. So for
Yeah.
example, they let's say I am the respondent and I am so ignorant about green protesting. So I never protested. But after answering to your question, I'm kind of like morally like obliged to think about the eco-friendly stuff. And then in the end, I say, okay, I'll protest something in the future that is green and eco-friendly. Done. So I don't know how to call it. Like I cannot come up with it. That's the influence of the experiments. Response bias or some survey bias or response bias. Yeah, can you see this one? So survey bias is defined as tendency in respondents to answer untruthfully and or inaccurately. So you can claim that you measure the same construct in different way, but whether they are correlated or not, whether the findings are consistent with the two different measures you have uh, measured at the very first and at the very last.
Mm.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So, for example, when people see this question, they don't know what they are asked, but they are to be asked. So it's likely to be they are truthful or something. But in the end, they after like answering all these green related questions, they can be more aware or want to show differently from what they are really. This is self-worth thing. So you can claim that you try to alleviate the response bias and further validate your findings and enhance your explanatory power of your analysis and something like that. So have a quick look on the response bias. And then you can simply connect. And this is just like, since you have it here, why not I would do that? Because this green related stuff and measuring like people's intention, they are often criticized by this people's aspiration to be shown as green caring person rather than their actual behavior. So it might be good that you have this knowledge about your data. And if you have discussion from the opponent or discussant of your thesis, you can quickly answer, okay, we have taken that concern into our design of the survey. So we
Yep.
measure them at the very first and at the very last and compare them. And this kind of answers is a way more constructive than failing to answer or just bubble descriptions. Oh yeah, that's true, but no. Okay, question 8. How often you protest? Yeah, we can put discussion as an additional thing, but for now we keep it aside. You can put it somewhere in your analysis, but for now we keep it aside. Okay, question 9 is about which construct?
Environmental self-identity.
Sorry, environmental
Self-identity.
Identity.
what? That's motivation.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, how about that one? Question 10.
Motivation.
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 Oh, sorry. So question 9 is about motivation. Question 10, motivation.
Yeah.
Okay. So question 11.
Also motivation.
Question 12.
Ability.
13, opportunity.
No, ability too.
Ability.
And then 14 is opportunities. And 15 opportunity.
Okay, cool. So then what we have to do now is we have to average the answers for each of these statements and make them into one single variable. So question 9, question 9. Okay, so how we can do that is we can just average them. So compute the variable. Okay. What was the construct we have mentioned?
Environmental self-identity.
And what is the question 10?
Environmental involvement.
Okay, 11.
Product involvement.
Product
involvement.
Okay, I'll put it just as a environmental self-identity. Here, it's better to use underbar rather than just space. This is just a norm in codings. So so rather than using just space bar, like when we indicate the variable name, we use underbar.
Yep.
Okay. It's hard. Is this the start of the question 9?
No, I think it's a little bit downward.
This one?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
And from here.
Yes.
You can just then it's good that you explicit variable name. Very good job. For example, if you haven't done it like clearly, like question 1, 2, 3, or question. So if you haven't or you haven't, have you? I don't know. So it's better to indicate this cache the name as a explicit variable name so that you don't need to be confused for anything.
Yeah.
So in this way, you can compute. If you say that, so the bottom for self-identity variable created. In this way, you can send question 10, question 10, question 10, but question 10 has
Question
four,
10 has 4 sub-questions
um,
and
environmental
is
involved.
environmental involvement.
Here you that's created. I need to do the same to remove them. 11.
11 has 3 sub-questions
What does it refer to?
and is product involvement.
And what was the 12?
12 has 4 questions
Mhm.
and is environmental knowledge. Thirteen is budget constrained and it has 2.
Okay. Let's see.
14 has 3 and is availability of alternative.
What did you say? Oh,
Uh,
alternative.
availability of alternative.
What does that mean? Ultimate ability of what do you mean? What does that construct mean? Just
Is availability of alternative and is
ah, availability. Sorry.
yes, availability.
Oh, um, 15. Just correct me if I'm wrong.
It has only 3.
Oh,
Yes,
no. Okay.
3, right? It's question. Oh wait, the availability of alternative is question 14.
Yeah, that has been done. Now I'm
Oh,
working on
okay, okay. Then
what is
it's
the
4 and time pressure.
temperature?
Yes,
Time
time
pressure.
pressure.
Temperature. Sorry. What do you mean by time pressure?
Like they are in a rush going to grocery store, so they don't pay attention to what they're buying.
Okay, that's about question. All like, so you have 4 subjects. I want to see. Just out of curiosity. Is that about the ability?
Yes.
Okay. And 16 and 17 is dependent variable.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And these 2, 3 are about motivation. Now, give me a second. So self identity involvement. What are related to the motivation here?
Sorry?
Which constructs are related to motivation?
The first 3.
First 3
And then 2 and then 2.
Okay, cool. Good. So now let's run the analysis. It doesn't take long at all. So but we have to be sequential. Linear, we first conduct the linear analysis, dependent variable. Is this one? No, 16.
16. I think the one above.
Yes. Yeah, 16. Yeah.
No, the one start with V.
No, 16 is
16?
the last 2 one. Yeah.
Is
Bạn
it?
sẵn sàng. Yeah. No, it has 16. And then 17 is above.
18, 17, 16 addition.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And we have before this, what we have to do, actually, to be honest, is we have to run our independent variable first. Independent. Sorry, control variables. So control variables, you have to specify what you included as control variables. For example, gender. The control variables indicate those variables you assume to have impact on dependent variable, but not as your main focus. So those demographic features that might have impact on their intention to buy or willingness to buy, or their just purchasing behavior. So you want to include them in the analysis and see their impact as well. But on the top of these obvious factors, you want to see the additional factors, for example, motivation, ability, and opportunity, and their impact. So only when you see them all together in one single analysis, you can consider them, okay, these additional 3 variables that we are focusing on explain more, adding on the top of these well-known factors, age, their international experience, and things like that. That's what control variables really mean. So, question, maybe their age, gender, and education may have impact. These 3 are just very common. Give me a second.
That's age.
This is age.
No,
this
that's
is
age.
age.
and gender,
gender,
and education.
education. Okay. And what else do we have?
Mm,
We have
international experience.
okay, question
2.
2.1, question 2.2. Just for now, just question 2.1. Let's see. And later on, if you can play this around if you have time. So okay, what really has impact? So you fully explore your data and see what are the variable that you give you the idea. Okay. Ours here, this gives you like you will get this kind of information quite easily from YouTube, but just to briefly let you know. Ours here means the percentage of variance in dependent variable that your independent variable have explained. So for now, we have included 4 to 5 control variables, right? Demographic variables, their age, gender, and what international experience and things like that. So these variables explain around 50% of variance in your dependent variable. And what we aim for in social science, especially in management, like is around 0.3. So that means 30%. That is regarded pretty much high. So let's see how much. I don't really understand what it means, but we can see this B beta here, and we have to see this significance of the impact. And they are not really significant, greater than 0.05. You can claim this is marginally significant, but effect size is pretty small, like 0.0 to 7. So we have, well, based on this, we can claim that these demographic features do not really have impact on their purchasing behavior or green product purchasing willingness. What does this variable?
Gender.
Gender. Okay. Do you gender? You put male, female, right?
Yeah, and rather not say.
Okay, so but I want to see how many who have answered 3 or 4. Data or descriptive statistics, frequency. Gender.
There.
Is it gender?
Down. 1. Yeah, that one.
So
the first one is male, the second one is female.
Okay, you have not to
Prefer not to
answer.
say. Yeah.
Yeah.
And non-binary.
Okay, you have 2 here. If I were you, I would run the analysis excluding these 5 cases and see what happens. You know, does it make sense?
How
I
do
will
we
see
do
what
that?
happens. You go to gender question and see what is gender question. Question. Maybe this 4. Like for now, you can delete it. And question this 3, delete it, but please make sure you do it in a different file, not in your original file. So you create the new one and just for testing it and then see what it looks like, whether your significance level increases, whether your effect size. For now, maybe we can try. How many did we have? 5. Question. 5 cases. Oh, and then when you click right, you can clear. Clear. Oh. No, I think we can do it in a different way. Okay. So did you see what I have done? So click data and sort the cases by question 19 from here. Oh, you have female. Question 19, when you sort it out, the data will be arranged based on the value for question 19, and you can just delete question the case number 111, 111, 112. So just 3. Clear. 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 And then I want to analyze them again. Regression and linear. Okay. And see what happens. This is how you can exploit your data.
The
So this is
second
the
one.
question 19, right? It doesn't like, no, it didn't help in the end. For this significance level, what you can do is collect more cases. For now, you have how many? You have 71. And out of 71, you have a lot of females only. As you can see here from, we have here to here, just
Male.
male.
Yeah.
Rest of them, 50 of 49 are female. So it's for in the software, it's almost impossible to compare their answers based on their genders, because female is just majority.
Okay.
Anyway, so this is what we learned from our descriptive, not descriptive, our linear analysis. Usually what you will see in normal paper, published paper in module 1. So you will have module 1, module 2, module 3. So I don't know whether I have it. Show you mine. I cannot come up with for now other. Let's see. So this is not the regression analysis, but the table will look like so. See, I had three models. In first model, you do the regression analysis with only control variables, as we have done just now.
Okay.
Then in model 2, you have main effects of motivation, opportunity, and ability. Then in model 3, you have interaction of motivation with ability, motivation with opportunity. So this will be the table that your results look like. So you will have 3 models. In the first model, you presented the results of this one. And in the second, I will show you how. So in the second, you go to the regression, linear regression again. And now you include these stuff, your key independent variables. And add them, and okay. And let's see. Your R square is 0.744. That means your independent variable explains a lot of your dependent variable. But you can be criticized by in the denied problem. So please make a note about, I think this is very, very relevant and like most critical feedback or question you to get in your analysis. So endogeneity can occur when X may be influenced by Y. So their participant behavior affect their answers to independent variable. In that case, your assumption that their motivation, their everything affects their intention, the direction might be reversed. They protest more and their motivation, ability, and opportunity might be high. But the problem, so before we talk about this, Oh, no, sorry. We first address this issue first. So in the denied problem, maybe if you get this kind of question, you can answer that maybe that is the problem. However, two of your like you can argue that you can think about the theoretical reasonings for that concern. So their motivation, maybe their motivation affects their intention, but the intention maybe enhance their motivation as well. However, ability and their external opportunity, it's hard to be claimed to have these opposite directional effects. So that is one answer you can think about. And multi-correlate. So this is another.
Model like this one that you'll see next in the mediation section. Before we can be confident that n, put your dependent variable in the dependent box, and then put all of your independent variables in the independent box, and then go to statistics and make sure to check the box for colinearity diagnostics. This will produce the variance inflation factor scores. So continue, and then okay.
Okay, so first issue is in the denied problem. Second is multicollinearity problem. So multicollinearity is that your predictor variables, for example, the motivation and ability and opportunity, they are highly correlated. That can be an issue because the key assumption of linear regression is the independent variables are not correlated or independent to each other. So let's see. So this video clip, it shows us how to check this multicollinear linearity. So multicollinear linearity can be checked with the variance in inflation value. So as this had just shown us, we can go to the analysis regression linear, and as we have done in statistics, continue, and okay.
The output has several tables, but we're just going to go down to this coefficients table. You'll want to look at the VIF column. Any value greater than 10 indicates high variance inflation, meaning that that variable is redundant with the other variables.
So now you don't have any value greater than 10. So you can claim that VI, so in your thesis itself, you don't need to talk about in the geniality problem, but maybe you need to talk about this VIF. Not sure if I still have it, but let's see. Christmas video. Okay. you can use this logic slightly in a different way. I'll copy and paste it to. Can I? Give me a second. So keep this note. Yeah. Notes, and if you want, you can screenshot this table so you can refer to it. You can see this kind of table everywhere, like in all quantitative studies, but maybe more explicit because it has the moderator value. When you use this notes in order to check the existence of potential multicollinearity problems, separate variance you don't need to use this separate variance thing. You can just say variance inflation factors were calculated dot, not in for each hypothesized thing. Because in my study, in my thesis, I have used different dependent variable for different hypotheses, but in your case, it's not. So it's not relevant. But overall, you can use this kind of logic when you argue the when you say something about multicollinearity, and people will expect somehow this one. Okay, so let's go to the results again. And coefficient, significance. Yeah. See the when you see that the significant, it's statistically significant, p-value less than 0.001. This one as well, and time pressure as well. But can you see this result?
Yeah. You can present this all, or you can be selective. But I think you can be transparent and show the results as they are and explain them. For example, in terms of the ability, you can, yeah, you can argue that this is marginally significant, but this is not obviously significant at all. So budget doesn't really affect the people's intention to buy eco-friendly products. It's very unexpected. No, like I'm a bit surprised with this results because you can. I think it's very interesting to connect this idea to the existing literature. Sorry, I was checking my floor heating because I have turned on it for the shower and then I didn't turn it off for like maybe like at least 2 days a week, and then like in the morning I'm like I get so sweaty and then like what the fuck, and no, I felt a bit hot and like I checked it home anyway. Sorry. So in previous sustainability research, the economic value, the price is one of the key determinants of people's behavior, purchasing behavior. But in your data, no, it's not. And also this is a bit interesting. It's negatively expecting it, and it's a bit weird. No? So this simply means that when they know more, they are less likely to protest. I don't know why. Let's go and check. Question. What is the question?
Up a little bit. These knowledge, environmental knowledge.
Second. Yeah, environmental knowledge. What is the question number for that?
Can you
It's
go up?
number 12.
19? Question 19? No?
No,
Oh, no.
number 12.
Number 12.
Number 12. I know pretty much about eco-friendly everyday products. I don't feel very
Oh yeah,
okay.
maybe that's why. The question is kind of reverse.
Contrasting, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh. You have to check one by one. So here as well, you say, I cannot afford. This is negatively framed.
Mm,
Then what you need to do is you need to revert,
yes, reverse it.
reverse these values. So check one by one and see which statement you have to reverse your value.
Mhm. Can you show me how
I'll show
to
you how
reverse?
to.
I'm just asking, can you show me how to reverse the value?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure you can. I don't use it often, so I will be pretty much a similar stage with you, but records into different values. And let's say question 12.2 should be reversed, right? This should be reverted.
Question 12.2 and also 12.4, I think.
Now,
should
like we have
also-
to do it one by one.
Okay, yes.
Output variable question 12 to reverted. And you click this old and new values. Olds. Can you see what I'm doing here? And does it make sense? No. Maybe. Give me a second. No, this. So now I'm changing one by one. So this old value 4 will be changed to new value 2 and 8. Old value 5 will be changed. Now it's from 4 will be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah,
6, 7.
4 will still be 4.
5, 2, 3,
3,
6, 2, 2, 7, 2, 1. Continue. Change. Okay. Action to R is created here. Variable name, variable view. You have to change it. So it's now like coded as a nominal variable, but it's scale. So you have to change it to scale.
Yeah.
Let's see if the Qualtrics has such functions already there. I feel I've seen something like that. Question 12. Mm. Mm. What time is that? For now, I cannot find a way to really avoid this hustle. So please put some time on this thing. Make sure that you revert everything needed. And
Yeah.
then first, you clean the data, to delete the data that is not completed. Second, as I have done this just before averaging the data into this 7 different variables out of whole thing, please revert them and then you average to create the variables. Then you can analyze data one by one. So let's assume for now, let's assume that you reverted the data and created the variables based on the reverted versions. And first I showed you how to do the linear regression with the control variable with the demographic features. Second, with the independent variables, the 7 constructs. Then now you do the moderation. For moderation, you go to the analyze and descriptives. Oh no, for moderating, give me a second. there are two different ways of doing the moderation. First, you see the moderation because you have measured the motivation with 3 different constructs, ability with 2, opportunity with 2. So you have all different combinations, and it is a bit complicated. So for moderation, I think what you can do is you average these 3, 2, and 2, and create 3 different key constructs, single construct for each concept. Does it make sense? So as we have done compute the variable, this is motivation, right?
Yes.
Knowledge. It's ability. Okay. Compute. Opportunity. Okay. Even though I have created the single item for a single value for each construct, I think what you have done here are quite valuable to present still. So in your main result table, so what I would recommend you is not just simplify, from the beginning, the each construct into one single variable from the beginning. Rather than that, I'd say so. By the way, I haven't opened my master's thesis for some years, and then I saw like it was 2014 and 100. So you can see here descriptive statistics and correlation metrics. And so here in the table, I think maybe somehow you can be flexible. Including so main fact you can motivation. Hundred, 41. And you take the numbers from by analyzing this one, a single value for motivation here and like here, and then now maybe you can put it as a main. There are two options. Environmental involvement. What are the two?
Environmental knowledge
Yeah.
and budget constraint and opportunity. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, yeah.
But how do we get the number like you do for model 2?
Sorry, what does that mean? These numbers?
Yeah.
That's here. So beta here
Okay.
is coefficient, standardized error, and significance. This is p-value. So I think you have two different ways to present your findings. First, in one single table, can be confusing. So like this, you put the numbers for motivation here, but and also other values like this. But obviously these values are from different analysis in a separate analysis with the separate variables for the same constructs, right? So it can confuse readers. So what you can do instead in a separate is do it in a separate table. You just do it with a three variables. And then maybe like main or in appendix even with I don't know like how to call this, but main effect with or something like that. Just for example, maybe you have better terminology for this, but I cannot come up with it because this is not really normal way to do it. People usually do just some whole dimensions and average them as like this one. So definitely put this as a main effect, but I still see your attempt to use the sub-dimensions are quite valuable. So you can put it in appendix. But it's hard if you keep these ones in moderation, it can be pretty much hard. Or what you can do is you keep it like you empty this motivation. And present it as it is. But you use the average value for only for moderating analysis. So you choose the way you think more appropriate for your own intention.
So why do we put the numbers for motivation, ability, and opportunity?
What can you say that again?
So you say delete the number for motivation
here.
on the table.
Yeah, because it can confuse readers.
Yeah, but then where do we put them instead?
Already here, so because these constructs, three variables,
Hmm.
they represent the motivation, right?
Yeah.
This is what you argue in your hypothesis already.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what you present.
Okay.
Or as I said, you can simply put it like this, motivation, by averaging them and not even mentioning these subdimensions in your analysis part and like results part at least.
Okay.
So let's do the moderation. To do the moderation, you go to Analyze and Descriptive Statistics. And Give me a second, I have to watch this one. So here you can see how to do the analysis for the moderating effect.
Well, if I go into the descriptives menu, I have a function which will enable me to save those values as variables. And I can see that that's now happened. And the last thing I've got to do is to compute the variable, which is the product of those two. So I'm just going to call it moderator. I'm going to make it equal to the product of the two Z scores. And that exposure to the type of music in these stimuli. So a word count is a response measure. It's a verbal report of how many emotions people feel in response to the items of music. So I'm hypothesizing that physiological arousal will enable me to predict responsiveness, verbal responsiveness, and so will previous experience of that type of music. I'm supposing that experience may or may not have an effect on how easy it is for people to verbalize their emotions in response to music. So
Analyze. Okay. Now, what we can do is we compute this. We have motivation and ability first. Motivation multiplied by ability. Okay. Oh, maybe this one. And opportunity. Okay. So we now what I have done here is I created the by using the descriptive statistics. I saved the standardized value. So standardized value, you know what standardized value is? No. Are you with me? So we create the value that is standardized for each variable. Then then that standardized value shows to what extent the exact response is apart from the average, right? That's what standardized value means. Then if we multiply, as I've done here, if we multiply that value to the motivation, then it shows the effect of the opportunity and motivation altogether. So that's the interaction effects of two variables and how that affects the dependent variable. So in this way, you can see the moderating effect of the interaction effect of two. But later on, like after this, things are the same. We go to the regression and linear regression. And here you include motivation, ability, opportunity, and moderating effect of motivation, ability, motivation, opportunity. And click. Let's see. Well, R square compared to the previous R square, it does not really improve much. Even it has been decreased. Can you see that? It was 0.744. And now it's 0.725. Although your moderating model theoretically makes sense, but the data shows weaker effects. Can you see that? So this ability, as you can see, its main effect shows the very high effect size minus 0.9. The moderation effect is 0.08. So maybe like the results may differ when you reverse the things again and run the analysis. But this is how you do the moderation analysis in SPSS.
Okay.
Yeah. And when you present the results, you can simply refer to the previous studies that has done the similar moderating analysis. I can forward one to you if you want.
I
So-
have questions.
Yeah.
What exactly do we need to write in the data analysis part?
Analysis part. So what's it? So
Because like I read the sample thesis. They wrote about a lot of formulation and like math.
I don't think you need that. I don't think you need.
Okay.
Such.
Do you have like any specific like parts that we need to have?
And you might be in. Vin, you can stop recording because it will take some time to